So yeah, I can just tell you from my own experience, because everything is from my own experience, but some things I just know inside of me. And I can say that, yes, right now I'm very clear, right? I sit here and I make these recordings, and it is somehow easy. Suddenly I wake up and I know what to do. For that I have to remember to sleep in the right moment. But also I had to work. You know, the hours I put in now. I recorded 20 days for my podcast. I had 20 episodes that I still needed to do. And I recorded them in a matter of days. Was it really 20? Shit. That's a lot. I mean, really? Yeah. So there's a thing. I did 3 seasons. And one is Manly Man. And then I did Phony Holy. And then I did Stately Dilemma. And that was roughly 20 episodes. And I recorded them in a number of days. So you could say, yes, I did dive into sin and into lies, and it was necessary. But I put in a lot of honest work, and I used what I had available, which was food and which was coffee, to keep me going so that I can work off the sins that I committed. You know, sin always sounds so bad, but it's just, you know, acknowledging that it exists that may just set you free. Because by realizing that some things that you do are actually harmful to your own nature may help you to stop committing them. So yes, I had to work a lot. But at one point I also had to acknowledge that, okay, I think I've managed. Because I started to feel more clear again. And I felt like, okay, now I have to relax a bit. So I slept. And I woke up and I knew I had to do this. Before I went to sleep, I was heavily struggling against the idea of recording more videos for YouTube, because I thought I don't want to do it, because what's the sense? And that's the thing, like, if you're following your path, try to question it as little as possible. Ask questions, but just do what you need to do in order to get where you want to be. And I know that I have to put in a lot of work to get out of these circumstances, which somehow you could say I have created myself. Because I want to escape my parents' house, and for that I have to work a lot. Probably 33 years worth of committing sins or something. So because I acknowledge that, I know I have to put in the extra work, because I want to create a different life for myself. And for that I have to be persistent, and I have to continue. And the only way that I know how to do it is by trusting in God. And to say, you know, it's out of my hands, please tell me what to do, I will do it. And then I sleep, and I have heartburn, and I feel terrible, and I feel sick, and I realize, shit, what have you been doing? And then I wake up, and then I start recording these videos, and a part of me just wants to be lazy, and a part of me just wants to go now and drink another coffee. But at the same time I realize I cannot continue doing this, because it's harmful to my body. Like, why ever? Why in the hell, we could say? Why ever would you keep drinking coffee, keep eating chips, keep eating the amount you do, keep drinking Coke, keep eating like McDonald's, if you have heartburn, like why would you do something that suppresses the heartburn? Like why would you take something that suppresses the heartburn and keep living in the way that produced the heartburn in the first place? If your farts smell bad, if you have problems breathing, right? If you have like constant migraines, if you're obese, if you're a smoker, like why would you continue doing all of these things? Because these things literally make you sick. Like the flu is, in my perspective, it's not sickness, it's healing. It's getting rid of energies. It's actually a good sign. You just have to help your body get through that, by eating the right foods. So today, to help my body, to get to this point again, I just sometimes know some of the things to do right, even though I'm going through some heavy shit at the moment. So what did I do instead of eating oats, which is like empty carbohydrates? Oh, literally, oats are like sawdust. It's not something you want to eat over like extended periods. So what did I use? Red lentils. Instead, you can make the same thing with red lentils and it gives you more protein. So I used garlic, ginger, turmeric, black pepper, chili pepper, filtered water, it's important, filtered activated water, coconut milk, and red lentils, and salt, of course. And I cooked it into some kind of dal. It was quite spicy, because that's what I needed, like something that like. And this is like medicine. I also used mustard seeds. And for example, cloves, they're antibacterial. So if I eat too much sugar, which I do, you can take some cloves, put them into your mouth and just let them dissolve. And it's quite an intense flavor, but at least you're doing something to assist your body, to counterbalance all the shit you're doing. So herbs and spices are a better solution for your health problems than all these so-called medicines that they're giving us. Because what they're supposed to do is to keep us sick so that we can keep eating the shit that we eat, and then we just take something that suppresses the symptom, and that literally will make us sick. So instead of changing your diet, you just take something against high blood pressure. Well, I believe something like garlic lowers the blood pressure. So nobody talks about overeating on sugar and starch. Because it makes you into a addict. And it takes a lot of determination to rid yourself of these addictions. Because you're trying to replace love with food. And I'm no stranger to that. I mean, I have a history of binge eating. I was in a 4-year relationship which was highly abusive. You could call it toxic. And she would like everything that was terrible in her life would be my fault. Now, if she would wake up with a migraine and the window was closed and maybe the heater was on, it was my fault that she had a migraine, and somehow I never stood up for myself, because maybe you're happy that somebody loves you, and I thought she would be the mother of my children because I felt a certain way with her. And it took 4 years for this relationship to end. And I had heartburn the entire time because I kept living unhealthy, because what I wanted was love and what I got was discussions and emotional abuse. I'm not saying that because, I'm the victim, but it's just something that happened to me. And sometimes I would eat so much stuff. I wasn't fat, so you couldn't really see it, but on the inside I was burning. Right now too, I'm more or less skinny, but right now I have heartburn. I have, you can see my abs and stuff, so I'm not weak, I'm quite fit. But right now I have heartburn because I ate so much stuff, incredible amounts of stuff. And sometimes I would eat a whole package of bread with 250 grams of butter just on top, zack, and maybe a bit of salt, and I would just eat that. And after that I would eat other things. I would just eat everything. Everything that you can imagine, I would just eat it. And in the end I was so sick that I tried to get rid of the heartburn, so I drank bicarbonate of soda with water. And then all the gas, it couldn't leave my stomach because there was so much stuff in there. So where's the gas, because if you drink bicarbonate of soda with water, it neutralizes some of the acid and then produces CO2. But if you're so full with stuff, it's just gonna make you more bloated. And then I wanted to, because I felt even more sick then, so I wanted to get rid of that. So what did I do? I tried to vomit, put my finger in my throat and vomit, and I didn't manage, because it's harder than you think. It doesn't come by itself, so you're trying to force it. It's quite hard. And I didn't really manage. Just some of it came out, but not really. And then even worse, I drank highly concentrated salt water, because I once heard that if you do that, you would vomit. And I still didn't vomit. So I just waited for it to pass, just how I did it now. And then the problem is you feel good again. Right now I feel clear. I feel like I know what I'm doing. And what do I want to do? I want to drink a coffee. That's pretty stupid, because that's just putting petrol on the fire, and that's just stupid. But that's what a lot of people do, because it's a habit. Because coffee gives them a certain feeling, then they wake up. And the first feeling they want is that coffee. But, the feeling that you need the coffee, the reason why there is an addiction, the reason why you're addicted to anything at all is because you're substituting love with food. So it's not the food that you want, it's actually love. And because the coffee once gives you feeling, because that's the thing, if you drink coffee, it gives you this whoosh. But after a while, it's just gonna give you bleh. So yeah, if you haven't had it in a while, and you drink one coffee, you will realize again what it does. When I feel shit, I felt now, the past couple of days, I would take anything. Give me cigarette. I hate smoking. But even a cigarette suddenly feels like something I want to do. But it's just gonna make it worse and worse and worse and worse. So you have to be conscious about the things that you're doing and the things that you stuff into yourself. You have to be conscious about that. And that's probably why you're here. Because basically my channel is, my station. Because you were looking for something in your life. And suddenly there's this guy sitting in his bed without pants. Well, you don't see that, but I just know it. Recording a couple of episodes in the middle of the night. Because suddenly he found himself again. But it's just as easy to lose myself again. And it's a struggle. And sometimes I don't know how to do it. Because sometimes it just feels easier to drown myself again than to keep swimming. And that's how it feels now. Like, I just want to go and drink another coffee. Because sometimes I too want to forget. Sometimes I want to go back to the time when I was ignorant. Because sometimes seeing all these lies is just too much. Looking at my parents and seeing how they suffer is just too much. Like seeing my mother laying on the couch because she just ate too much ice cream and she doesn't even understand why. It's just too much sometimes. Like seeing people smoking is just too much. Seeing people overeating is just too much. And sometimes I just can't handle it. And the responsibility of seeing these things and then sometimes helping these people, and then you're suddenly back in the pit and then you hate that, but you have to continue. And I think the easiest way to go about it is by trying to rely as less or as little as possible on outside measures as you can manage. Like try to get rid of as many things that keep you hooked as you can. Try to get rid of as many things that make you addicted, and that's also behaviors. So if you're craving for hugs from people, maybe you should spend some time alone and learn how to give yourself what you want others to give you. And bit by bit you will free yourself of the things, you were missing and replace them, with bits. So knowing what you like to do, right? Knowing how to create that place where you were as a child, where you could play with yourself. And the more you get there, the more you will attract people into your life that can do the same thing. And that's why I often talk about it. Imagine, you're not together as man and wife, but imagine you live a life with your wife, and it's more like, imagine having sex, but like with the mindset of a child. Because now you have all these kinds of experiences and you have grown. But you still have that playful nature of a child. And then to have sex in such a way that it just has something lightful and beautiful about it and sacred. Because you're innocent, right? You're back to being innocent. It's not sinful. And it's not selfish. It's just for, the joy of, playing together. And sexuality can be lived as something playful, where you don't have all these expectations, where you just come together as man and wife, as woman and husband, and you have sex in a playful way. And isn't that the best thing at all? But for that you have to let go of your sexual desire, and then it can come to you. Something like that.